everybody, this is Melissa for Scott Township Public Library Cooking Club. We're still conducting Cooking Club virtually, obviously. So this month we're going to tackle apple butter, but I called it ugly apple butter because the apples are not pretty. Sunshine's making them very bright, but you can see there are several bruises. It's okay, I have this whole colander full, and this is just a small portion of apples that I began with. I don't know about you, but I hate to see food wasted. It hurts me personally. So when we heard about a friend who had an apple tree that was overly laden, we went over and got a bunch of them and brought them back home. So we've already done this once. This is apple butter 2.0, and it's so easy. And again, I'm not going to list an actual recipe. You can go onto any search engine and look for crock pot apple butter. That's all you have to do. And you need to find some apples, pretty or unpretty. It does not matter. And that way you will not be wasting food, and you'll be using the bounty that is coming to us naturally. So I'm going to go in and do a lot of chopping. And basically, you're just putting in apples in small chunks. I leave the skins on. I'll tell you how we do that later. But just chopping all the good portions of the apple into little pieces. And then you're going to use your crock pot and let it do all the work for you. So simple. Okay, everybody, I've spent some time chopping. These are not tiny pieces. They'll do. Tiny pieces would break down even faster. You can see that I've left the skin on, and the beauty of natural apples are that they have not had all the flavor bred out of them, kind of in the same way that heirloom tomatoes that are a little bit ugly usually have a much better flavor. So I'm not even going to add any sweetener to this at this point. All I did was put in a little bit of water in the bottom of the crock pot. I'm using my little mini crock pot. You can see it's small. So there's a typical size. And again, not perfect skin on, but it's fine because you are going to get such a nice, rich, true apple flavor. So I'm going to leave this on low for at least 4 hours. If you try this at home and you have too many slices, simply put in what will fit. Add that little bit of water at the bottom, turn it on low for several hours, and as you come back and check, you can give it a stir, and then you'll find that it's sinking down and there's more room for you to add more apple pieces on top and stir those right in. So you can actually get quite a bit into your crock pot if you do it in stages. All right, let's let this thing do its work. Okay, we're checking back on our apple butter. It is at least 5 or 6 hours later. I just let it slowly simmer and do its thing, and you will see that the level of apples has dropped, and when I put in a spoon just a minute ago, we're getting much softer on the bottom. So I'm going to give all this a stir. If I had more apples to add, I would do so now, but since I don't, I will simply stir this up. Now I'm going to add about a quarter cup of sugar and some cinnamon and cloves, ground up cloves, just to taste. And I'm also going to give a couple squirts of lemon juice, just for that little bit of extra acidity. And then I'm just going to let it cook on low for probably another hour or two, and then we'll employ our last trick. Hey everybody, we've been cooking our chunks of apple, and they're coming along very nicely. I would say they're done. This has taken several hours. You don't want to rush it. And I forgot to mention, if you have an Instant Pot, you can use the slow cook setting on your Instant Pot, but this is a good old-fashioned crock pot. Here is our secret weapon against the peels. Remember, I left the peels on my apple chunks. This is how we're going to deal with the pesky peels. I apologize for the whining tone of my immersion blender. He's very cranky. Now you can see how the texture has changed. You do this to taste, and while you're doing this, you're also adding any of the seasonings that you decided you wanted to have more of or less of. I guess more of. I am a simple flavor person. I had some ground cloves, I had some ground cinnamon in there. I started with some sugar, I added a little more sugar, and I did do a squirt of lemon juice just to offset the sweetness so it's not too cloyingly sweet. I'm going to do a little more with my blender, and then I'm going to show you the finished product. Alright folks, there's our finished product. You can see it's got a nice thick texture. I left a little bit of the chunkiness in it, and I did water bath process some of these jars, like this one. 20 minutes in a hot water bath. If you were thinking about canning items, this is a great beginner project. It is almost fail-safe, and even the first time I tried canning, this was what I made, and all the jars sealed. It's so satisfying. But you don't have to do that. You can just keep it in the refrigerator for a few weeks, have it on some toasted bread in the morning. It's fabulous. And you're using the food that we have around us. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed the process. I hope you try it for yourself. We'd love to hear your comments if you do. And do please subscribe to our Scott Library channel. We would love to hear from you, and we appreciate you tuning in. This is Melissa for Scott Township Public Library Cooking Club. We can't wait until we can get together in person again. So until then, happy cooking.